All right, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us, talking about a big day in this country, the inauguration. President Trump right now is on Air Force One en route to his home in Mar-a-Lago. He will no longer be president as of noon of this afternoon. And with us this morning talking about it, Thomas Schwartz, professor at Vanderbilt. And Professor Joe is back on the line, so let's take his phone call because we tried to get him earlier as we talk about the inaugural and reaction to all that's happened leading up to this. Let's see, Joe, are you there, Joe?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, go ahead, Joe.
I just have a couple of words to say about Donald J. Trump. Good riddance. You can tell by the number of people that showed up for his departure that all it was, mostly was family. And so the Republicans, and Mitch McConnell and the rest of the Republican leaders, they're bailing out on him as quick as they can because they want this to be over with and he to get rid of him and get rid of save the Republican Party for what that they had, because he hadn't done anything for this country. If you can name me one thing that he did while he was in office that he promised, I'd like to know what it is. That's all I got to say about it.
All right. You know, one thing that he did promise coming in, Professor, I don't know if you saw this. Many presidents do this. They take office and they're going to run a clean ship. And as we know, the president said he drained the swamp, and he issued an ethics, I guess, code for all of his staff to follow. And under that requirement was that you cannot become a lobbyist until 5 years have passed after the administration. And just last night, he rescinded that, which means all of his staffers can go be lobbyists. Now, before you just say, wow, what a scummy thing to do. Well, I think it is. But it's not just what he's done. Bill Clinton did the same thing. And, you know, you wonder about it. They pass these ethics, qualifications, and then just before, and it looks good when they come into office. Oh, we're going to run a clean ship. Yeah, no one here can lobby after 5 years, until 5 years after they've left my administration. And he just rescinded it like that. And you know how this works. Maybe explain to folks how you leave an administration, you've had contacts and everything. If you can jump right into lobbying, you can make some big money real quick and take advantage of relationships.
Absolutely, and this is the reason we talk about the swamp, is that people can make connections. Yeah. If you're in a position of government regulating an industry, you get to know those people, you get to know the people in the businesses, and when you're out, they're going to be interested in being able to use your influence to lobby your successors, and you're going to be in a good position to do that, and it's been a common element of Washington going back a very long time. I would think even to basically to the early part of this century, where you had lobbyists, especially as Washington's power over the economy and direction of the economy has increased.
Yeah, but at least for Clinton and Trump, that was just window dressing. Yeah, it looked good. They got some good PR, and they leave office, and they immediately rescind it. Like I said, it's a slimy thing to do. It's just slimy. Period. And again, it's Clinton did it, Trump did it, and it's slimy. They get something in place and then they rescind it. I'm wondering, as President Trump does leave office, you could tell in his goodbye at Andrews Air Force Base, it just seemed to me that I was thinking in his head, Professor, that he's like, this is my last time. Yeah, this crowd's not what I had hoped for, but he loves the attention. He loves the bully pulpit, if you will, that comes with the presidency and the power that comes with it. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not sure, and maybe you can explain how big a difference it's going to be. I know he was famous before he became president, but when he leaves and he no longer has the power of the presidency behind him, do you think he even recognizes just how much the attention and everything else just vanishes? I mean, people will stop listening to him. I mean, except for, some of them close in his business. But that's it. What he says will no longer carry nearly the weight, not even close, with no longer being the president.
Well, yes. The other thing, of course, that happened was his being banned from Twitter. That was one of the ways in which he communicated with his supporters, in which he made news constantly through his Twitter feed. So the combination of all of these is going to greatly diminish him, which may mean why he might try and establish some manner of communication. People have talked about making a network or doing something to continue to have his name in the news and have his family in the news. And as we're seeing sort of images of his family, many of them had political ambitions. We know Ivanka and Jared Kushner certainly had a major role in his administration and will want to be playing some type of public role in the future. So it'll be interesting to see if there is a way for him to continue to have some manner of media presence. I just right now it looks rather different for him on many levels, on so many levels.
Yeah, as time passes, it's really hard to tell how things will change. And you're right. I mean, clearly, he still has a lot of supporters out there. And you wonder if that's something that he would try to build upon and run again in 4 years, or if instead he wants to be a king or queen maker, if you will, and try to use that power to help some other candidate he believes in. To me, I just think the president is about himself. And he's going to want to do, I could see him trying to run again in 4 years. I mean, he said as much. He didn't say it again much recently, except he just says this is not the end. Right. How do you interpret that?
Well, I think he is, of course, waiting to see what happens. I mean, one of the things that's clear is that if he is convicted in a Senate trial, he could be banned from holding further office. So that is one reason why some have suggested Mitch McConnell will indeed go through with the trial and push for conviction. That presence or that possibility is certainly one of the things many of the Republicans want to prevent. Trump could still have a lot of influence. Even if he were convicted and banned from office, he could still continue to try and influence the part of the party or the many people within the party that he has helped come into office and to have a prominent role. So I don't see him completely fading from the scene, but one has to see where things go. If Joe Biden has a successful rollout, accomplishes a great deal in these 2 years, Trump may fade considerably.
Yeah, and who knows? You know what? He may go back to restarting and hosting The Apprentice. I mean, very successful. He could do something like that if he wanted to. And, I've said it before. I think that show, which was enormously popular, and he was good on it, had a lot to do with him becoming president of the United States, because people felt they came to know him on TV. And we know how we're a TV culture. And if you're some kind of actor, or movie star, or something on TV, people just feel they know you. And I can tell you firsthand, what you always see at TV is not always the person in reality. But I think that served him very well. And maybe he'll go back to The Apprentice. Listen, we'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to take some more phone calls and continue our conversation with the professor right after this.
This is a Storm 5 weather update. For weather on the go, download the Storm Shield app.
Hi, everyone. I'm News Channel 5 meteorologist Leland Statham. Around the Mid-South this afternoon, a mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures here in Nashville upper 50s, and then cooler air tries to push in with a front that will